this is actually the gear that we're gonna run with. It is kind of a troll and kind of a guide in a way. I was curious one day and I just thought, you know what? Is it possible to do quite decently solo no preps? We shall see. So over here I just start always on 0. And that way you have aligned your layout with the same game tick RuneScape works on. I of course just equipped some bunny gear to, have some shit and giggles, I guess. Banked a couple of things, therefore we actually can require to pick up a couple of potions from Vasa. Don't forget to pray melee. And also I basically have a Phoenix necklace on and Vengeance pre-fired. I am on the Arceus, so I will spawn over here a troll. And then we just basically spam click the boss. Make sure I'm 121. And of course, never lucky, always 0. Quickly go to the bow. Run along, protect from melee. Go back to range. If you do it properly, you can fire about 4 hits in before you reach to the crystal. Now I basically am just flicking piety, and eventually I hard clamp piety, and then I right click rigor. That's usually how I do it, because if you right click rigor, you can just open the tab as you see right now, and just instantly click and activate it and not be on your prayers. So it's a slightly quicker way than actually using your F keys, if that makes sense. But that's just preference, up to you guys. So I try to walk in patterns of 3. You can clearly see that here. That will make sure that I never get hit by any of the Vasa balls, explosion ball things, whatever they are. Anyway, I'm eating up over here to at least 50. Equip my mage. Actually, I think mage is slightly better than the T-bow if you run no gear. Yeah, it is what it is. It's still bad, of course. Long range, hit. And I actually thought that he felt out, so I almost tracked him out. Almost. Thank God I readjusted somewhat quickly, if that makes sense. Just flicking along, and if you are actually fast, you can always, with the T-bow, properly lure him in place as I did. With the Tumican is a slight delay on when the hit registers, even though it's still a 5 tick like a T-bow as well. So it is like 50-50, if that makes sense. You really need to almost do it perfectly, if that makes sense. So once it is that, the Shaman, I will actually go to the second Shaman. I try to make him jump here, just to be lazy, just to be happy and, content, but it never listens. When it wants to jump, it never wants to jump. It is something so strange. Anyway, didn't jump here, so I was like, okay, it's almost dead. I'm just giving up. I'm just gonna kill it anyway. It's way better, way faster. Because jumping is technically not a time save, if that makes sense. So always avoid those green splatter balls and avoid those purple minion spawns. So we kill him right about there. Slight overkill, watch out for the minions. And let's get further along. So basically this is a boulder. Boulders, if you're lucky, it's 1 tick, can be very quick. As you see over here, I did not expect it. So I lost a tick there, it is what it is. I grabbed a little bit better regen. The only reason, normally I don't really use it because it's time loss. But since we are in such a troll gear, I kind of like to have a little bit extra and, maybe make the raid 30 seconds longer or whatever, right? It is what it is. So I dragged everything over here. I hate this spawn so much, guys. It's literally the worst grab that you can imagine, room. It's, for solo, I suboptimal. I really don't like it. It can be done fast, but it's just not my style. I'm so used to the Chambers of Zarek CM, actually. And I was late there, of course. It happens. Nobody saw that. So I smashed them all 3 again. I accidentally broke it there. It happens. Since it breaks, I will go to the cyan blue or whatever it's called. And then I actually mage him. So I can do that one. And after the mage, I will do pretty much another Warhammer in. And then I break it with a new color over here to reset. Then hit again. This should be time enough. Plenty of time to actually go to the white and black one then. So that will be our last one. Once we reach over here, this is the last one. I smack him, so it doesn't follow. Completely fine. Over here, I kind of forgot that I was so little HP and my prayers weren't correctly. So I, of course, did mage. Because still Tumican, I think, is slightly better at DPS with troll gear. I actually missed that one. Don't pay attention to that, it happens. Long range, if you guys want. Long range really can help you out if you want to have a hit earlier in, if that makes sense. So I was slightly unlucky on the regular enhancement from the outside, the rejuvenation potion, because it did not align with, the procs of the redemption. So it is what it is. It aligned there, but it was already that. Sometimes it just happens, nothing you can do. So basically what I did is I dropped the used one and then I equipped offhand, so I could actually bring in a little bit more supplies. If you have two hand on, as I did, like a Tumican, you really just don't want to leave a pot behind if you can dual wield, if that makes sense, right? Also, I ate one extra potion up due to the fact that I was still after eating below 50 and therefore not proc to 99 plus, if that makes sense, right? So your overload regens properly. And due to the fact that I also ate it, I could instantly start the crop. I was not planning on actually going for the bats, but since we have them, why not, right? So you usually want to do about, well, I will say 7 to 10, give or take, depending on the layout and whatnot, to actually dump the worms in. But since I had bats and I had to respawn rewalk again back further along, I was like, you know what, it is what it is, right? It just is what it is. I will do a 14 or a 16 and be slightly less efficient. So I opened up quite a bit more. And really, this is not an efficient guide, of course. Yeah, in this gear. I just want to have some fun and see how far I can push my limits. I, of course, did the series from max gear to sub 1 mil solo, no prep chambers. So yeah, this is a slight detour on previous things, I guess, that I have done just for fun. I was checking gear here, making sure that I had everything. I actually eat over here, which means that I have to secondly go to again towards the chest because I am consistently eating the bats. And of course, I don't want to bring in bats towards home. Therefore, I just eat them up to 99, and then that's completely fine with me. And it's how would I say? This might be a 5 seconds loose because I technically could have grabbed everything for in thieving, but then I didn't have the grub luck, if that makes sense, right? So it's totally up to you if you want to save some time or not. I think I did about 4 and then 5. Yeah, I think that was it. So 4 horse, and I actually saw that my prayer was very low, so I decided to actually eat a little bit more of the prayer, like twice before banking, just to have it, because I don't know how Om is gonna go, Like Wu is doing it literally without gear and only weapons. Pretty much nobody. It's just such a strange thing to see, right? Anyway, we go in. I also have the buckler on and the Tumacorado, due to the fact that I then thereby can actually bring in one more supply. It saves a little bit. It's quite nice that way. And over here, I just had to respec, which I kind of dislike. I rather had the first Warhammer and then just save 50%. But hey, you know, RNG is odd in that way. I must tell you guys, I am so bad at Tumican walking while actually having no gear. Like the amounts of hits that I will receive right now off Frey really will scoop up my performance, I guess. It's not particularly good. Like here, it went to middle over here solely because I did not hit. And I assume we're gonna hit quite often zeros. Therefore, the troll damage will actually come in clutch, I guess. I have to tank here, so I did the shield on and did shield back off and Tumican on. I think I am going to do this a little bit more because if I'm correct, it's a slightly better tanking method, but it requires more patience and skill to consistently go amongst your weapon and shield to switch. Normally, I always do it with the body and legs, and then just Torva, for example, while still camping mage, and I just thereby tank the range. Because I'm kind of lazy in that way, I really hate off-prayer hits and being in mage gear, if that makes sense. It just shreds your whole HP. So we kill it over here, and we proc him. So he goes towards the other side, then we go to the middle, and from there on, I instantly know what cycle it is, because I always like to go towards middle to make your sight align with the turn, if that makes sense. So over here, I actually made a mistake. I got 2 hits into 2 hits, so I should have done it 2-1 instead of a 3-1, or 3-2, I could rather say. I was just not paying attention there. So now we are fixed. For those who don't know how to fix a cycle like that, if you get 2 auto hits, your next cycle run should be 2 side hits and going back. That way you force him to only hit you once due to going early back, and therefore you automatically become back in 3-1 cycle. It's quite nice. I like to actually walk back. It's such a habit for my mega scale solos that I do from time to time. It's such a habit to just walk from, let's say, the 1.4 tile to the skip tile and save a little bit of run energy. I'm very curious also on how the meta is going to change in with the agility rework, of course. So our things on, I actually main hand hit him. Don't pay attention to that. Don't do that. That's wrong. I missed that one. I hoped to cripple it, and then I realized by myself, like, ooh, wait, we cannot really cripple it. Cripple is going to be such an RNG fest instead of skill fest due to the fact that, you know, we're a bunny. Okay, go there, boom, perfect. We are in cycle, but we did not hit, and therefore we are slightly screwed. Protect from mage up, and this was the horrible thing ever. We are having flame phase, we were in cycle, and of course, we got some damage due to the fact that we hit 0. It just happens, you know? Okay, I had to wait there to reset it a bit, which will make it quite decently. Normally, you reset on 1, technically. For those who are experienced, they know where 1 is, but I don't have it marked. So yeah, that's literally where I'm standing right now. That's 1. So middle, but outer middle, if that makes sense, right? Okay, so I hit there. Still hitting zeros like a crazy madman, I guess. Anyway, this should be completely fine. Yes, it turns good. Lovely. Eat up a bit. The reason that I actually have my Ralos, just to clarify, and my ZCB with me, the Zarite crossbow with me, is due to the fact that I had no idea how fast our regen would go, right? So if I'm 100% regen on on the spec, I will just use Serrite Crossbow for a slightly better DPS output. But if I cannot manage to get that within a decent time, I will just camp a Relos hit to make the whole head phase of Olm slightly faster, if that makes sense. So we actually are in the wrong cycle, which means we now had to do a 1 hit, and I was late. So I had to wait here, go back, because I accidentally wanted to do a 2nd hit, but I just made such a big mistake there. And thereby it means that we have 2 autos. So we do a 2, 2, 1, lose a slight bit of DPS, but we should always get in cycle back, you know? So that's a 0, and perfectly, we are in cycle. Unfortunately, the hand is almost dead, but now we have phase 3 over here that will go after the ceiling collapse mechanic, whatever it is, right? And what we're gonna do is double maul. I actually gonna equip my Blood Fury soon and try to regen. So I'm gonna spec with, of course, the how's it called? Rancor, more DPS, and from there on, Blood Fury. So 1 hit, gonna do a 2nd hit, Blood Fury on, run to the middle, go back, boom, instantly 3 to 0. 3 to 1, instantly. I love this method so much. It's so freaking chill. Like, you can be a rather autopilot, brain dead, whatever you want to call it, right? And just do 2 maul hits and go at it. If you only have 1 special attack, make sure that you do a 2nd side hit and make sure to know whether you be on time back to the skip, the middle tile, or for me skip, I call it skip. Otherwise, due to the fact that you miss a tick, because maul is 6 ticks twice, right? So you're pretty much on a 12 tick. And otherwise with the side you're on an 11. So make sure that you don't get hit then and be in cycle instantly. I actually made a mistake there, so shield on, shield off. Completely fine. Lose a little bit of ticks, but you know, it's fine. It's not my best performance. I actually should have maybe do that slightly different, because I tanked twice now for nothing. It just happens. We are actually halfway there, and we are camping Light Bearer. The reason that I do Light Bearer, because I just wanted to know whether the spec was possible, and I told myself the spec is never possible. It is what it is. So we will eventually go for a Velos. It seems to be. For those who don't know, the Velos actually lowers the defense like a BGS would, give or take, you know. It's just a lowering of Olm. If you have, I think in a solo twice a Velos, it's close to 0 defense, but I could be wrong though. We shall see actually, maybe it shows, because I am in a party up. Okay, so I basically hit 0. I wish I actually killed it there, and I assumed I killed it there. I did not pay attention to the XP drop. It is what it is. So now we go back and actually try to hit him. Okay, over here, what you see is I'm just gonna wait, because I did not know the cycle of Olm, and thereby he could technically heal, if that makes sense. And since I didn't wanted to heal him and then restart the whole phase, it's better to go to middle, make sure to maybe skip out on 4 game ticks, while you actually make sure you do your last proper hit on cycle, if that makes sense. That's my personal preference. It's not a tick perfect method, it's not a fast method, but it is a consistent method. You will actually never ever get healing portal that way. Anyway, we are just running from left to right and trying to do a 4 to 1 for the range. Always stand on the blues, because they hit quite a bit on you and they heal on slightly too much. I'm actually gonna skip out on a hit here. Gonna Relos, because the HP is way too low, or way too high, whatever you want to say. Depends on the philosophy, I guess. Too low to spec and too high to not do a Relos. So do a couple of hits. Once the hits are there, always try to avoid everything. Gonna try to keep on 4-1. And of Freyr, I think we tanked about 3 or 4 of Freyrs right now. It just happens, you know. Okay, that was fine. And the kill is done. Guys, thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you, and like and subscribe. Bye.